Good times, good times. Let's talk 84 Chevy. Probably turn the music down before we get copyright infringement. Don't want that. 84 Chevrolet pick-em-up T-Ruck. All red. Oh yeah. New sticker. This garbage. I put new tabs on it last night. Forgot to take the little stickies away. Grass is going to be wet, so I'm not going to get down there too far, but the rear end's weeping still. Just crawled underneath there, it's wet on the bottom. But I don't have an actual gasket in there. I do have a gasket. That's a paper gasket in there. I just realized, I think it's the front that I don't have one on. But it's wet. Not good. May have to refund those bolts a little bit more. That shock over there, the boot is torn. Put some new zip ties on it, but it's not gonna last much longer. And we all know my ring gear has got a busted tooth, which sucks. That's just one tooth, so I'm not too concerned about it right now. And then when we were down here working on the front end, I don't remember which side it was, but my tie rod ends, hopefully that's showing up, I can't see the screen right now. Both tie rod ends are, boots are torn, so they're not holding grease anymore. I got a front main seal leak. I'm not going to worry about that just yet. And steering stabilizers, probably original to the truck. From December of 1983. That tire almost looks a little low. I guess not. I should check the tire pressures though. Yeah, we got a little moisture around the bottom of this one too. It is dripping. Great. So I need to get a new rear diff cover too, because that one had a corrosion spot on it. Gotta get my winch put back on this thing. So, tie rod ends are on order. I might have them by January. This is early October. Part shipments are pretty pathetic right now. Shocks, I should replace them. These are pretty old. These are, I don't remember when Grandpa put them on this truck, but it wasn't that old when he put them on, so. Somewhere I had the receipt, 86, 87, something like that. So they've been on there a long time. I don't get any of the porpoising when I'm driving, but pretty heavy springs on this truck, so we're going to buy new shocks for it. New steering stabilizer. That alone's going to be about $300. And I went ahead and called Summit Racing and got them on order. So they had two different types of shocks for this truck. And one was listed as the rears, and the other was front inner or rears. Now I know you can get I don't know if you could on the 3/4 tons. I know on the half tons, Blazers and Suburbans, you could get a quad shock front, but I had to call them up, so we got front and rear shocks and steering stabilizer coming. I already got the tie rod ends coming, hopefully. Ring gear and pinion, that's about $240. Richmond gears, I think they'll be just fine. Pretty good name brand. Brother recommended going with Yukon, but they're pricey. I think they wanted about $300 for a ring and pinion. It's like, Richmond will be just fine. So this is a 14 bolt rear end in this truck, but it's the 9.5 inch ring gear, not the 10.5 or 10 3/4. So it's a lighter duty. Briefly entertained the idea of putting a big 10 or a big 14 bolt underneath there, but I don't need it. And it does have a factory Detroit locker in it, so that's probably where that one tooth went. I was probably playing around in the dirt and it just locked in and popped. So, but yeah, so ring and pinion, 240 install kit with all new bearings, crush washers, bushings. I had to double check to see if the seals come with that, but that's 160, I think. It does not include the axle seal, so I may need the outer axle seals and the pinion seal, which it's probably 10-15 bucks a piece right there. So we're looking at what, 240, 340, 400. It's probably 450 bucks for rebuild the rear end, plus the 300 for the shocks and steering stabilizer. Ooh, it's getting expensive fast. But I haven't really done a lot of maintenance on that truck. But here's what we're going to do. I don't know when I'm going to order up the ring gear and all that stuff. But I have somewhere around here, it's probably hanging up on the shelf over there. Dig around and find them. I don't think they're down below. I have some small lift parts to put on that truck, and I've never put them on. I've got zero rate, what they call addle leaves for the front. It's basically just a spacer that bolts into the spring pack. Gives you an inch taller clearance in the front. Finally, main reason I didn't do those was they says you have to get new U-bolts. And, you know, I took some measurements and going down to the shop, I just didn't do it. Well, this place, Off-Road Design, finally started offering replacement U-bolts, so I bought a set. And then I've got heavy-duty greasable front shackles. The stamped steel ones are a little weak if you off-road it. I don't really off-road this truck anymore, so that gives me about 1.5 inches more ride height on the front. And the shocks that I ordered will support 0 to 4 inches of lift. In the rear end, I have new reverse shackles. So the way the shackle mounts to the frame, it's riveted on. Your shackle itself, pivot point is way up high. This one here, it just moves it down below. So it gives me 2.5 inches in the back. So that'll just kind of bring her up just a little bit. I didn't want to do a 4-inch or 6-inch and all that garbage. But I've got those parts floating around. The only big issue is we have to bust the rivets off the rear of the frame, punch them through, but I bought a rivet gun with a bunch of heads so that we can do that. Chisel tip, so I can chisel off the button heads on the rivets. I just haven't got around to it, but since we're going to have to dip in and redo the whole rear axle, may as well do everything while we're at it. So we'll rebuild the rear end. We will get the front end squared away, new shocks, get the steering ends taken care of and greasable again, stabilizer done, and we'll put some lift bits on it. A little bit of an overhaul. I think since the truck is down pretty much for the winter, kind of sucks because if it snows I'd like to have it to go into work, but I do have over there somewhere seat upholstery. So I might just pull the bench seat. I need to clean the garage a bit more, but I'm going to go ahead and pull the bench seat this winter. And that shouldn't take too long. And reupholster that seat because the driver's side is all torn up and worn out. The padding's good, it's just the cover itself is shot. And then while the seat is out, I'll throw the new carpet in. And that will finish up the interior. So, I don't know, maybe next weekend if it's not too bad. Like I said, I gotta do more cleanup in the garage. We'll get that seat out of there. I want to get the Polaris in here, but I think the seat takes precedence. So, that's where we're at with the old 84 Chevrolet. Love that truck. That's my favorite truck. I don't want another truck. I mean, to me, I love everything about these trucks. Especially the front end. That's why we did it to the Jimmy. So, got the winch for it. 8,000 pound Warren. Just need to get her back on. Got an oil leak on it I need to fix yet, but paint's getting thin. Tires are holding up. These are about 11 years old now. I don't see any cracking or anything going on. But over these black wheels, there's peeling paint on the old back bumper too. That back bumper's about twice as old as the whole truck is. And this one did come with the aluminum strip in the center here, but I pulled it off to do some work to it and clean it up. I liked it better without. The only drawback is I got open bolt holes, but I love these trucks. Need to do a little bit of maintenance to it though. So, alrighty. 12 minutes of me yammering on about the truck and not actually doing anything except for talking about spending money. We'll get her. Got a new rear window for it too. What did I do with that? Might be out in the shed. Or I put it over on the side over there. I bought a smoked rear slider. This one here doesn't leak, but the slidey bits, the aluminum trim came off and the latch is busted, and I decided it was time to do that, so get a nice smoked rear window. But alrighty, enough yammering about the old square body Chevrolet. Go inside and figure out how I'm going to pay for all this. Watch my videos, play the ads, that'll help. So, alrighty, we'll catch you on the next one. Bye bye.